All right, everyone, we're going to be showcasing you the symbiotes here. It's going to be a challenge. I promise you that it is not something that is going to be as cut and dry as they always win. It's not going to be something where the actions are going to be clear. We're going to start right away with a 4 red coal because you're going to be selecting your team based on the power of the coal obsidian. You're going to be comparing your Scream, your symbiote Spider-Man to those characters, because if you don't get the opportunity to land the debuffs, you're going to have a problem. And we're going to showcase that versus a 7 red star. So we're going to see if they can actually punch up in arena. So my team is pretty significant, although I don't have 7 red stars on my symbiote Spider-Man or on my or on my Scream. So we're going to start with the debuffs here. You're going to see that it's going to be important with defense up. He is going to potentially counter some of the debuffs from these characters. So Symbiote Spider-Man does land a defense down. Now we need the offense down to land from Scream. It does. So this is the idea here, is you're going to go right in with Anti-Venom's ult. And you're going to grab offense up and defense up, which helps them really ramp up pretty quickly. So right here, we're going to go ahead and spread these over. And then we're going to carry it over back to Proxima. Extend these. With that kill, you're going to start seeing them go into action over here. And this should strip some buffs off really quickly. We're going to want to do this immunity here because we don't want the slow to land from Moss. So this should be enough to kill them. We should be able to flip a couple of those buffs. The kill is going to be important. And there's no slow. So even with the meteor burst and the larger Thanos, it becomes less of a challenge. We're going to want to start putting some damage into Maw here. And then we're going to go ahead and stun Ebony Maw. And then we're going to start just ramping up really quickly. We got to get Thanos out of the way here. He's another problem. That should just finish him off here. There's that final elimination there. So they punch down, and it's really, like I said, it's really going to be a comparison to your power of your Scream and your symbiote Spider-Man to your opponent here. And we'll go over the ISOs in a moment to kind of showcase this. So, relatively clean win. You're picking certain actions just to make sure that you're controlling the team, again, with all the different abilities, the speed control on Scream. It's important that a lot of these guys stay alive. What happens when you face a 7 red star? So we're going to go into that in a minute. We're going to showcase this team. Right now, we're going to go over the ISO selected on them and give you an idea of why they're doing what they're doing. So for this, if you want to beat Black Order, I recommend Skirmisher on Scream, Skirmisher on Spider-Man, and Skirmisher on Carnage. The reason being is these are going to be your primary source of vulnerable, but more importantly, they're going to allow Anti-Venom and Venom to get their ISO Striker marked abilities off and cause some havoc early on. The last piece of that puzzle is at level 5, they're getting a 50% bonus to base stats, which is significant on a team when you're starting to encounter the likes of Cole, especially when he gets things like regen. If you don't get certain abilities to land on them, the magic doesn't happen. So you have to account for the resistances. Let's get right to that fight with the 2 7 red stars and show you why I think it's a little bit early to call them the Black Order killer, because you're gonna have to select your targets based on the size of the coal. All right, so that's a 7 red star coal obsidian with Striker, Raider on Thanos. This is a lot of damage coming to the team, so we're gonna go ahead and try it again here. So we're gonna start right now, and I like keeping Venom and Scream separated. It just helps protect two of the more important actions, especially if you can get the defense up, because Venom doesn't get dropped below health early, and then Scream, if she does happen to get wiped off the board, she's going to be that early res. So let's go. So offense down only on 3 characters, but they are my 3 primary sources of the debuff. So that's something that we're always accounting for when we're talking about this. So we're going to go right in with Carnage, get the 7 red Carnage maxed out. He does land a single stack of his bleeds. Not that impressive. We need to land defense down here. If we don't land defense down, they're not going to get that early defense up, and it's going to cost them a lot. Now, the next thing is we would really love to land offense up. Offense up, or offense down. Let's just get offense up from Scream now, or from Anti-Venom. Now we're going to go ahead and do that. Go right in. We're going to get a multi-strike here with the vulnerable. There it goes. So all those bleeds are on him. Now, we lost 2 members early on. That is a huge shame here and a potential problem. But we're going to go ahead and throw the offense down over to Thanos. We want to start protecting the team as much as possible. See if we can't recover from this. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge. That's an unfortunate... That is a very, very unfortunate... stun, and I got to figure out why we're not getting that. Yep, and it's all over about the crying here. It is just really hard to recover when you think about just the number of buffs and debuffs. It's really hard to get through that. Now, I probably could have played it a little bit differently once I got the buffs cleared. And that's the thing about it, is you can actually get in and start doing some different actions against the team here. Once you get through Cole, you can start controlling other members of the team, but it is really hard because he's retaliating a ton. You're getting, you really have to take in consideration that with that striker probably level 5 on that, and the 7 red stars, he is just devastating as a counter there. So one more time, we're going to take it in there. We're going to try this team because we're going to see if if there's what the percentage win chance might really be. I've tried a couple different ways against this team. My problem is I get so far behind that I can't spin them up and get a lot of recovery out of them. And that was actually a perfect scenario. I landed all the debuffs I needed to flip them back, and I just couldn't control the field anymore. All right, so there's an offense down, only on 1 target there. This gives me a lot of hope because there's only offense down on 1 target. So we land all 3 of those. And then we're going to go in with the... And we don't land the defense down. And he had... Yeah, that's just... that's unfortunate. So with the offense up, that'll be okay. We get the evades out, which is going to be a big deal in a moment here. So that's another piece of the puzzle. We can do that. I'm going to go ahead and do the ability block here. We're going to play the long game here. So unfortunate we got it on. Unfortunate that happened on Carnage. And we're going to go right back into here. Here comes the res. Yeah, just too much damage. That Raider on crit just brought them too far down. So something to consider. You have to take into account that these characters are in the promotion store. 7 red star on Cole and Thanos. I think it's just a very limited. You're gonna have to get near perfect debuff placement. And so from that, I don't think it's something that I'm gonna recommend punching up against high red star Cole. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at a bigger Cole over here. There's a 6 red. We'll see if this one is a little bit more tenable with my squad here. We've got more comparable stars. We'll see the difference that a team makes. So not as big of a team. I do have a lot of stars on my symbiotes and they're fully maxed. I think I'm missing very few T4s in the whole team. We'll go over the T4s as well in a moment. So first things first, same thing, offense down affects them. We're going to see if it actually lets us get in and do what we want to do as far as debuffs here. There's a resist. We got the defense down. This should help get the offense down. We've got it. We've got everything we want on the team, so we're going to go ahead and throw it back over here. So that is a pretty sizable amount of buffs and debuffs going out. All right, we're going to go ahead and spread this to Proxima. Even with the regen, that isn't as bad as it could have been. We're going to go ahead and spread and just eliminate Proxima here. And then we're going to go right in. All right, so this is where you want to be. You want to get the immunity for when he drops his slows. Obviously with the counters. And then we can just start controlling the team a little bit more. So now that we have an exposed Thanos, he is like a soft nerve there. You can generally start finishing them off. And you will see that finishing off. As long as you don't speed him up yet, it'll be good. That's the concern. We just sped him up one. He won't get sped up when he's stunned. And then we're going to drop the debuffs and then eliminate the team here. So, really, really important to consider the size of your Thanos and your Cole. Obviously, that was a lot easier. We landed all the debuffs we needed to, and they just ramped up, and it was never an issue. So, help you for target selection. One last piece of the puzzle. We'll go over the ISOs one more time, and then the T4s, and hopefully we can help you consistently beat this team. Back to the team. So I don't think it's important, but because I have a 7 red star, I did max all of my my abilities on Carnage. The extra damage isn't really needed. And I don't really use Slaughter on this, so it's the passive here, and then the basic if you need to. He isn't spreading it on Cole. I'll have to figure out why. There is Symbiote Spider-Man. I've done all of them. They have all value. I still recommend, especially with the defense down on the target. It's going to be important. Anti-Venom is just so good. Being able to recover if you are trying to punch up. These are all going to be relatively necessary, but Deadly Cure, I think, is the most important ability. And then I do like his basic to be able to get some more with taking advantage of the vulnerable. Scream. So Scream, we actually just recently did them all, and mostly I do want to say that especially if she dies early and winds up coming back, then you're going to have her hair trigger for the slow, and you're not using it in the same order, so you're using them in alternative. You're going to use her special first, which I think is probably the most important target, the most important use of her ability. And then finally Venom, I only have his basic now, that we're using him as a striker for the additional debuffs that are being flipped with the striker ability. So that's the team. Very careful target consideration. You can repeat the actions here. Just beware of the large Thanos and Cole, and you should have very little problem taking them on in arena. That isn't the best team that's out there. If you really want to start using this team in arena and you have options for Doc Ock, Doc Ock does basically let them take advantage of a lot of abilities. You can catch OMG's video later on. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the team. Let's have some fun. Remember, I do things you guys don't have to. So hopefully you guys determine if this is going to be the symbiotes you want to build. We're going to be doing a raid video in a few moments, showing them at the full max potential of U7.5. Talk to you soon.